Could I ask the Chief Minister whether the United Kingdom Government has any legal duty with respect to the position of the Isle of Man resulting from Brexit?
Call on the Chief Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy President. In terms of our constitutional relationship with the United Kingdom, there is no law, domestic or international, that applies any specific duty or obligation on the United Kingdom in respect of the Isle of Man's position in relation to the European Union. Honourable members will be aware that the framework for developing the international identity of the Isle of Man commits the UK to recognise that the interests of the Isle of Man may differ from those of the United Kingdom. It also commits the UK not to act internationally on behalf of the Isle of Man without prior consultation and, in cases where there is a difference in our interests, commits the UK to represent these differing interests when representing us in an international capacity. In respect of Brexit, the UK has taken account of the Isle of Man's position throughout the withdrawal process. Shortly after the referendum, we received a commitment from the Prime Minister to work closely with us and to take our interests into account. This commitment has been honoured, and we are engaging at a political and official level with the UK government on an unprecedented level. The UK has been representing our interests during the course of the negotiations, and this is evidenced most clearly by our inclusion within the scope of the draft withdrawal agreement, as well as the provisions on the implementation period, which will mean that our current relationship with the EU will continue through that period. Similarly, the UK's white paper on its future relationship states that they will be seeking a relationship with the EU on behalf of the island which does not undermine the relationship between the island and the UK, and which also reflects our interests in respect of the balance of rights and obligations which we might be expected to meet.
Supplementary question, Mrs. Beecroft.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy President, and I thank the Chief Minister for clarifying that position. Could he just clarify where he's saying that they're representing our interests, and some of the paper talks about recognising the Isle of Man's desire and acknowledges the Isle of Man's position, that actually what's being achieved is through negotiation and lobbying of the UK government and not through any legal access that we have? And would it be possible to look to the future to have some sort of more firm basis, some sort of legal basis, some legal agreement with the UK, where rather than acknowledging that they should consult with us prior to making any changes that could affect us internationally, that they have a legal duty to consult with us, so at least they know our opinion, even if they don't have to take any notice of it. If there was a legal obligation to do so, I think it may make our position more secure in the future. I'm not just referring to Brexit at this point, I'm as a more general matter. If there was something in law that they had to do this, I think it might be a relief to a lot of people, shall we say.
Chief Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy President. We get into a highly complex area that I could speak for hours on, if I'm honest, Mr. Deputy President. I think, first and foremost, official communications between the island and the United Kingdom government are through the Ministry of Justice, and so the Lord Chancellor has particular responsibility for advising on island affairs. The Ministry of Justice guidance on the relationship between the UK and the Crown dependencies, which was developed for the benefit of officials in the UK government, states that the constitutional relationship between the island and the UK is the outcome of historical processes and accepted practice. Now, the most recent statement of the relationship between the UK and the island is found in Part 11 of Volume 1 of the report of the Royal Commission on the Constitution, published in 1973. Now, that's known as the Kilbrandon Report. Now, sometimes, regarding our negotiations, Mr. Deputy President, myself, departments, civil servants, senior officers are away regularly in the United Kingdom, negotiating and discussing the Isle of Man's concerns, finding out what's going on, etc. And we've never had an act we don't have a constitution. The UK doesn't have a constitution written down in statute and in law. And sometimes be careful what you wish for, because if we go down and set in clear tablets of stone, this is what the UK government will do for us, and then it's clear, then that opens up a can of worms which we may well not want to happen. So I think the current relationship has worked pretty well for us for the last few hundred years, and I personally cannot see a situation where I would want to have everything absolutely defined to the letter. So I can't agree with the Honourable Member on that, but I can confirm that we do have a very good relationship. And as I say, simple things where in the White Paper it's being included on the transition period, if that hadn't have been included, then when you leave the Isle of Man during the transition period that the UK has with the European Union, you would have had customs barriers at Heysham, at Liverpool, at all of the airports. So we are working well. We're regularly mentioned. I have the Under-Secretary of State, when the latest White Paper came out, on the day personally ring me to discuss that and give me the latest update and the thinking. So I'm content with the information levels that we have with the UK, and that they are looking after our interests. And as I say, it is highly complex, but I do not think we want to get it written in tablets of stone, because it will cause us unthought of problems down the line.